Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another creative sim for the Disney Save. Today we're going to be creating the Seven Dwarfs from Snow White, and this video is going to be a little bit different today than how I normally do my creative sim videos for the Disney Save. So normally I actually have a Google Doc that is a part of one of my Patreon tiers, and I, along with people who are pledged to my Patreon, have access to it, and we kind of collaborate to come up with character bios, traits, aspirations, things about the character that would be important to mention basically in the creative sim video, but then later on get implemented into the save file. And so normally that is how I create each character, and then what I'm doing is I'm actually reading their character bio that we kind of create on the Google Doc. But for these characters, there's so many of them, they have a lot of similarities. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some differences between them, but they are also just like not super developed characters. Because of how old Snow White is, a lot of those like side characters or not the main character tend to just not get as much character development as maybe like more modern Disney movies do. So instead of creating like a bio for each of them, which I probably still will do on my Google Doc, but instead of reading that off for you today, I'm going to talk about their traits and talk about why they were picked for each one. So we are actually starting with Bashful today, and his aspiration is going to be soulmate. So he's kind of going to be the romantic one of the group and the one that I think is maybe the most proper, the most interested in romance. His traits are romantic, good, and music lover. So obviously we have to go with the romantic trait. Good and I think music lover are both ones that could be used with pretty much any of them except for probably grumpy. And in particular, I really wanted one of them to be a little bit more lenient on the music lover trait and maybe not use it for all of them. I think maybe one of the other ones did end up getting one. Not 100% sure. We'll find out in a few minutes. But I think having at least one of them pay tribute to the idea that they like music and have it be the one that is the more romantic of the group is probably the best bet. Also, really quick to point out, all of these Sims are brothers. They are all they're of varying ages, I should say. So maybe pay attention to the different ages that get picked. I think 2 of them are elders, 4 of them are adults, and one of them is a young adult being Dopey. And they all wear the same exact outfit. That is the Granite Falls outfit, and I think it's so good for their character. I think it's the perfect fit, and it'll fit really well with the aesthetic of Henford on Bagley. It has that old school feel. It'll look really in line with a lot of the other characters. That was actually Happy, and obviously he gets some traits that are a little bit easier to pick. He is a cheerful, outgoing sim, and then I also gave him the Insider trait, which is one that I don't use very often, but it basically is that your sim really likes to be surrounded by their friends. So I thought it was a good opportunity to maybe use a trait that we don't get to very often, and of course his aspiration is friend of the world. Now we have Dopey. Dopey, again, kind of an easier one. He is also the one that looks the most different from the rest of them. He has blue eyes, he's bald, he is a young adult, so he's just generally going to look a little bit younger, and I hope that you like his face because I think I nailed it as far as like a Sims version goes. It's really funny. He is going to have the curator aspiration, so he's actually going to be like the little collector of the group, and the one that is most focused on, you could obviously have him collect anything, but I think obviously with mining the gemstones, that entire avenue of the game would be really, really great to implement with him, and I think he would love it. Like, he would collect and it would be like his whole thing. His traits are childish, clumsy, and goofball. Now we have Sleepy. This is going to be our sim that really plays into the aspect of the cottage being super dirty, a lot of these characters being maybe not the most well kept, the entire house is like super, super disgusting when Snow first stumbles upon it. So we're going to go with the newer aspiration that was added with one of the kits, which is fabulously filthy, and it's just like, I like to live in my filth, and I haven't been able to use that before, so I think it'll be really fun to use with his character. He is going to be a lazy slob, but an outdoor lover, and just a really unique character. That is a combination that I have not gotten to use yet, and a lot of those like more negative traits tend to get used for evil sims, whereas in this case obviously this is not really the case, so exciting there. Then, of course, we have Doc. He is the leader of the pack aspiration. It makes a lot of sense. He kind of feels like the leader of the group, maybe the oldest. I think in the video, he's being created as a adult, but I think I did actually age him up to an elder, possibly. Actually, I don't know. I get a little confused. There's too many of them. He is a genius maker perfectionist. So he's definitely going to be like the handyman of the group, the creator, the maker, a perfectionist, I think, kind of goes along with his character. Genius, I really hate that trait because I feel like a lot of the times what I really want to use is just a smart trait, but we don't have that, so I end up using the genius trait as kind of like the placeholder for it. And he is probably the smartest of the group, so that's kind of why that got chosen. Now we have, of course, Grumpy. He was so much harder to decide compared to the other ones. A lot of the other ones felt really natural. And then for Grumpy, I just kept thinking, what is his motivation? Why is he grumpy? What makes him want to be a miner? What brings him to this group? Because I think even in the movie, they're not necessarily brothers. They're just kind of like together by circumstance. And I decided to go with Renaissance Sim. So he wants to be good at many things. He is a hot-headed, paranoid snob. So he's definitely going to be the more temperamental, annoying Sim of the household, which I think is very in line with his character. And then at the end of the day, he just has like very general goals, maybe a little bit of wealth, maybe a slight interest in romance, slight interest in happy family. He wants to be really good, really educated at a lot of things. He just doesn't voice it very often. So you don't really get to hear about it. He's got those goals kind of like behind the scenes. Along with these outfits from Outdoor Retreat, we are combining it with the base game beanies to kind of show off a little bit more who each character is. I hope that I have been able to add little details to them here and there, such as glasses, different beard types, maybe some blush, maybe some powder on the nose for Sneezy to kind of give that look that you can tell who is who. But when in doubt, we have the colored beanies to kind of coordinate a little bit better with their character, with Grumpy being the only one where his beanie is actually a different color than the hat that he wears in the movie, just because this outfit only comes in 3 colors and I wanted to be able to use the red on Grumpy somewhere because I think it's very hand in hand with his character. And then last but not least, we have Sneezy. Sneezy is kind of fun. My patrons came up with a really good idea for his traits. He is going to be lactose intolerant, squeamish, and a dance machine. So again, leaning into the idea of being interested in music, in dancing, but in a different way than doing the music lover. Squeamish, I think, just kind of goes in with like the allergy thing. And then more specifically, one of the traits that was added with cottage living is lactose intolerant. So obviously we can't give him literal allergies necessarily. As far as I know, that's not something that's in the game, but we can give him something that plays into the idea that he is allergic to something, which is the lactose intolerant category that I wish and hope that they move to a different section at some point. But for now, we will leave it here. And I think it kind of goes along with his character, as well as trying to pink up the nose a little bit to kind of always make it look like his nose is sort of bothering him. And his aspiration is master maker. So again, he's going to be kind of a creative maker of the space, a little bit more generic for his character, but I think goes really well with the rest of the group. And that is going to be the Seven Dwarfs. If you missed Snow White's Creative Sim, definitely check that out. Linked in my description box in the playlist for the Disney Save down below. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below or the one at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post. And I will talk to you all in the next one.